Welcome back to another episode of Broken Through Addiction Podcast. Jamie Porter's wife, Erin Porter, is going to come in here and share a story about her drug use and how she became redeemed. So let's go ahead and bring her in.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming on and doing the episode for me.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you want to give us a rundown of your childhood, or tell us where you're from first?
Born and raised in Sacramento. Been here my whole life. So, my parents split when I was pretty young, about 2. And, even though they split up, I had a very stable home life on both sides. So that was great. Grew up, on the north side and the south side of Sacramento. And like I said, very stable home life. I was in the honors program in high school. Didn't really get into too much trouble aside from, ditching school and all those kind of normal teenage things that we do. Yeah. So nothing about my early childhood or upbringing should have pointed in the direction that my life ended up taking. So,
That's what I was going to say. From the outside, it sounds like you had a solid foundation. So what do you think led you to experimenting with substances?
you know, when I started to get on the other side of things, my one of my sponsor at one point had mentioned that addiction starts long before you actually pick up the drug for the first time, and I started to think back about what in my life kind of led me down that path. I was very loved by both sides of my family. I had high aspirations, going to college, doing all the things you're supposed to do, in the right way. I really think it was a lack of self-esteem. Being a girl in high school is hard.
Okay.
Girls are mean, kids are mean, and I think it was also just trying to fit in, trying to be cool, trying to do what everyone else does, just because of my own lack of self-esteem. I really think that's where the problem started. Like I said, I wasn't into like heavy stuff in high school, but we smoked weed, we drank.
Yeah.
I think
Who did it? Who
I
didn't?
think the hardest thing I did was we tried shrooms once in high school, but other than that, I mean, no one that I hung around did anything what we would call the hard stuff, right? It was all just smoking weed and that. So I think that's really where it began, is just trying to fit in and be cool. But really, I think I was kind of lost in a way, and didn't know who I was or where to fit in. And doing that was an escape. I think a lot of us find that,
Yeah.
that escape that then runs away from you.
Right.
So after that, I think it wasn't until college when I started to kind of experiment with other things. Kind of getting into some of those harder substances, tried
Okay.
Coke for the first time, those kinds of things. And then I moved to San Francisco. And that was what heavy on the rave scene over there. So dropping ecstasy, doing that on the weekends, but still managing to go to school during the week and then party on the weekends, hitting the raves up hard, dropping and doing acid, hippie flipping, candy flipping, all the things. So, and that was really just kind of, it's fun until it's not, right?
Right.
You're everyone's partying, everyone's doing it. Again, I think it's that whole fitting in and just trying to lose myself and have a good time. Um, but
So looking
yeah,
back, do you remember a moment where things started to shift from just having fun to something deeper or darker?
so that didn't happen until so when I was a junior in college, I went to San Francisco State. I had been here for 2 years, going to Sac City, and then I transferred. And towards the end of my junior year away, my dad was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. And I knew nothing about any of that, but the life expectancy is 2 to 5 years from diagnosis. So I had a difficult decision to make. It was literally the week of my finals when we found out that his diagnosis. And so I was very, very close with my dad. And if I only had 2 to 5 years left with him, I wasn't going to waste a single minute of that being away. So I made the decision at the end of that year to not go back to San Francisco. And I would transfer to Sac State so I could be closer to my dad. Best yet most difficult decision I ever made. He only lasted 6 months
Oh no.
after that. So when I moved home, I had spent a really long time trying to get out of Sacramento and start my own life and do my own things. And so it was kind of this whole bittersweet, I'm home for a good reason, but I was mad about it. I was mad that my dad was dying. I was just an angry about a lot of things. Mad that I had to move back to Sacramento, everything that I gave up that I had just discovered for myself. And so that's when, so after he passed is when I started to really
How
get
old were you
deeper.
when he passed?
I was 21.
21. So your dad's passing sounded like it was a turning point. Like, how did that loss affect you emotionally and mentally at 21?
So I was heavily involved in his dying process. I moved in with him and his wife. I have two half brothers who were 10 and 12 at the time. They were so young. It was, I mean, this disease, it just rips the person away from you. Hard to watch that decline over somebody who I cared so much about and watch him just be, I mean, every day the disease just took something from him. And so I think watching that really kind of, I really needed to escape after. And then I was back in Sacramento, the place I had tried to escape so hard. And I felt stuck. And when a parent dies, it's like everything you think you know about the world, everything you think you know about yourself kind of gets flipped upside down.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I think I just really wanted to be numb. And so I found myself more and more partying, getting into doing coke and going out to bars and drinking. I mean, I was 21, so prime time to go out and just get wasted. I used
So
that as kind of I later look at it as it was an excuse, but it was the breaking point for me, I think, in my experimentation with drugs. And that's
so
when
for
I met,
sh-
go ahead,
so
sorry.
for sure so for sure grief played a role in the addiction.
Oh, big time. Big time. It was a pity party for sure. Poor me.
Okay.
I'm 21.
Yeah.
I just lost my dad in this terrible way. And I didn't know how to face. I tried to face it. I wanted to. I really did. I did all the things you're supposed to do, right? I went and I got a therapist. I got into group therapy. I was trying to do like all these things I didn't want to turn around 5 years down the road and realize I hadn't dealt with it. So I was really trying all the things that you're supposed to do, but I just couldn't. It was a hole that I could not figure out how to fill. It was pretty devastating. And I started to kind of experiment with just more and more drugs and doing them more often. And then I ran into somebody that I knew in high school, and he was dealing. We ended up getting into a relationship. And it was more pity party, right? I think on both sides. He had his own stuff going on. He was doing his pity party. But we were young, stupid. He was dealing, so it was like at night we were partying, doing all the stuff, and then I was still trying to go to school, hold down a job, do all the stuff in the day. So it was like this whole double life that I was trying to live.
So pretty much like a functioning addict.
That was what I called myself. I realized later, there is no such thing, but definitely a functioning addict, and definitely that is the one takeaway from my story as an addict, was that I really led a double life, and I tried to hold. Addicts tend to tell themselves lots of little lies about, well, at least I'm not that bad. At least I'm not doing this. At least I'm not shooting up. At least I'm not. At least I'm not
Yeah.
stealing. I'm better than that addict. But no addict is really functioning at their full capacity of what you can do when you're not using.
When I was younger, I used to like hate people that would shoot up, right? And I'd be like, that's disgusting, right? I will never do that. Well, lo and
Never say
behold,
never,
there I am. There I am.
right?
Yeah. And I was like, uh-oh, what? Then like it was like, what have I become, right? But by then you don't even care what you've become. It's you've already doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So
I do recall. So it was these moments where I really thought I was holding it down. I really thought I was just partying. I was just using it occasionally. I got this covered. It's just a good time. I could stop whenever. And more, because we were partying at night and then me having to get up early to go to school. I had classes, and then I was working part-time. So I would go to work afterwards, that I found. So at one point, my boyfriend who I was living with, he used meth. And for quite a while into our relationship, he refused to let me try it, because he knew it's
yeah.
and then I don't recall when, but at one point I tried it and I was like, oh, this is the one. This is the thing. This is what I've been missing my whole life,
Yeah.
right? This
Yep.
thing is amazing. I need more of this. But then more and more I was using it in the morning, just to kind of like get going in the morning. I just need a little bump, need a little hit to get me through the day, because I needed to wake up, because we've been staying up all night and I have to get up and I have stuff to take care of. And so sometimes he would be passed out, and he'd pass out for days on end, because he'd be up tweaking for days.
Yeah.
He'd pass out and I'd sneak a little hit for myself in the morning so I could get going. And more I needed that little hit to get going, until one day like I said, he would crash out. He would be up for days, and then he would crash out hard. And when he crashed out this time, he hadn't re-upped. So there was nothing for
Uh-oh.
me to steal from him in the morning to get going. And I was trying to study for finals, and I couldn't even keep my head up. And he was out for, it had been like 2 days. And I'm like, I remember just looking over at him going like, please get up. I need you to go get more dope. I'm dying over here. I'm trying to study. I can't function. And then I realized, like, how did I get here? I can't even keep my head up. I'm in so much, my body was in so much pain. I couldn't stay awake. I can't function. Like, how did this happen? How did I get here? I
Was that
need
the
this
break?
thing now. And that was
Was that
a very sobering, funny you say
yeah.
sobering, sobering moment, that I realized, like, I need this thing. I'm an addict.
So that was the breaking point, the moment you
Yeah.
realized like
But it's like you said, you realize the thing, but now I'm in it, right? So
yeah.
does that mean I'm
Yeah,
going to
you're
stop doing this thing? No,
oh,
the minute he gets up, I'm going to need him to hit, I'm going to need to hit his dealer up so we can get more, because I need to not feel this way.
and
And
did you
so
still go
that
around your
kind of
mom and all that?
became, so I hid it from my family, my friends. And like I said, I became very good at this double life. I had my tweaker friends, and I had, I had a double life. I literally had a double life. I have friends that I grew up with from high school who I would still hang out with, who I would say most of them had no idea. Some of them later, when I came out the other side, were like, I knew something was up. I just didn't know what. But I was very good at hiding it from my family and my friends, and doing just enough to not be like tweaked out when I go to family dinners or do things like that. But I mean, there were vacations that I took with my family where we went to Italy. I took dope with me to Italy. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Can you imagine getting arrested internationally? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't care. I can't function without it. So really the rest of my addiction became chasing the not feeling like this when I come down. Right? I know I shouldn't do this, but like the opposite of this, which is the come down, that's terrible. I don't even want to deal with that. So I did a lot of that, and there were definitely opportunities where had I come clean to those around me and admitted what was wrong, I could have been saved much earlier in my addiction. I had a friend who lived in San Francisco, and she was like, just come down here, stay with me. I'll help you get clean. Like, just, I'll take care of you. Come down here and let's take care of this. So I made the decision, fine, I'm going to do this. I got in my car and I was leaving Sacramento. I stopped at the gas station first on my way out. And the reason that I was where I was because the dealers that I knew got locked up and I didn't know where else to get it. And I was like, I'm screwed. As I'm pumping gas before I'm about to head out of town, this guy that I used to get high with pulls up behind me. And he's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. And he's like, you want to get high? Yes, I do. So it was like those moments where things could have, it was like the devil always came back, right? It found his way back, and it was like I had to make the decision, yes or no. And it was always yes. I'm gonna go that way. I'd rather get high. This sucks.
Yep.
I don't want to do this. But it's very much what I called the functioning addict. I always held down a job, paid my bills. I've never been to jail or prison, right? So I wasn't like out stealing or doing crazy things to feed my habit. I stayed on the right side of things, and so I felt like I'm doing this. It's fine. I can do both things. But man, you're just barely treading water. I mean, water's here.
Yeah.
You think you're functioning, and you're not. And then you find yourself in situations or relationships or just, I remember going places sometimes and being like, if my friends and family could see where I'm sitting right now as I'm waiting for my dealer, or the situations that I've put myself in because I need to get high. Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing. There's some people who I don't know that they like my parents who, bless their hearts, just have no idea kind of like the places that their daughter would go to and the depths that you find yourself in, right? So then for a while there it was just getting high and trying to get enough money doing my part-time jobs to stay high. And then I started slanging to some friends. And then that turned into, well, let me just, instead of getting the little eighth that I need, let me go ahead and get a quarter. Let me go ahead and get an ounce. Let me go ahead and get a little bit more. And then basically I was slanging to friends to feed my own addiction. So then it really became this lifestyle because I was able to kind of always maintain. I always had dope. And as long as I had dope, I could get up, I could do the things I needed to do. I felt fine, functioning, quote unquote. Yeah, it's interesting. And then I met Jamin.
How did that happen?
He was a whole whirlwind tornado that I mean, like I said, I was able to hold things down. The people that I associated with, they were friends. The people I dealt too, they were friends. They were people I would hang out with I mean, at any point in time. They're people I trusted. They're people I'm still friends with today. Good friends. I would say the people Jamin associated with were more associates.
Yeah.
So, when he came around, I was introduced to him by my dealer, and gosh, he was a whole level of crazy that I had never, never been exposed to before. But again, you find yourself in these situations that somehow that becomes the norm. Somehow it becomes acceptable. Our life was crazy. And for him, it was the alcohol more. Alcohol, I think, was his demon more than anything. The alcohol led to the drug use and those things. But I knew if I came home from work, so again, I'm still holding down a job. I have a house. I'm paying rent. I'm paying my bills. I'm doing all the things. While he's out running the streets at night, doing his thing.
Yeah.
He would pretend to sleep. Like I would sleep every night. That was the thing. Like I'd get high all day and then I'd sleep at night. Every night I slept because I couldn't feel like cracked out in the mornings. I had stuff to do. Like I had a life to try to maintain. So I would make sure to sleep every night. So that I could get up and go to work and do the things that I need to do, put on that other side of my life.
Yeah.
We'd lay down at night and I'd wake up in the middle of the night. He'd be gone.
Oh.
I was like, this liar. He's like, I would just wait for you to fall asleep, and then he would duck out and go run the streets, do the things he was doing.
He's playing Batman.
He was. But I knew if I ever came home from work or came back to the house and he was drunk, it was about to be a bad day for us. I think the alcohol brought the anger out in him, obviously. And then the dope fueled the insanity because he'd be up for days or, not like me, not sleeping, getting his sleep in. And when you're tweaking too, I think people tend to get, as most people know, you get paranoid, you hear things, you think things, you take situations that most people, it's not, and he would twist it and turn it, and we would end up fighting. And he would get physically abusive. Never like hit me, but pushing me, throwing me down, breaking stuff. And I'd always let him back in. I don't know why.
So it was toxic for sure.
So toxic. Until the day. So there was one fight we got into pretty bad, and he had this backpack. It was his work bag, and it had bolt cutters in it because he was out thieving at night. So we get into a fight. He throws me down on the ground, and he has his backpack in his hand, and he goes to swing it at me. And I knew in my mind, I'm like, there's bolt cutters in there. Like, so I turned my head and he caught me right in the back of the head. But we're arguing, we're fighting, we're fussing. The cops get called. He bolts. I was so scared that he was going to come back. I think I locked myself in my car because he had keys to my house and everything. It was like I couldn't lock myself in my house. I locked myself in my car until I realized he wasn't coming back. And then I went in the house and I realized that he got me in the back pretty good. It was like I went to take a shower. It was just the shower's running red. And I'm like, oh wow. Like he got me. But the adrenaline and everything at the moment, like I didn't realize he had got me so good. So my best friend had come in from out of town. And I told her what happened. He stole my phone. I didn't have a phone. Like he would get crazy. He would steal my phone because he thought I was cheating on him or whatever. And so
I think we all do that.
Yeah, man, it was just like so toxic. And he would steal my phone or take my keys and like all kinds of stuff. So I couldn't leave. So I told my best friend when she got into town, like what had happened. She checked the back of my head. She's like, we need to go to the hospital. Like your head is split open. Well, of course, when that happens, they're like, you need to file a police report and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So cops came, took pictures of my head. I got some staples in my head. And from there on out, the cops, they were looking for him. So I'd let him back in. We get in a fight. The cops would get called. They'd come. He'd hop fences, get away. And this cycle continued for a few months until I think he told the story to you too about the day he made his decision.
Yeah.
I wish he would have informed me of his decision on this day, but it's about 3:00 in the morning and we're hungry. We go up to this restaurant that's right in my neighborhood. And as we pull up, there's windows around the whole, and there's a table right up front a table full of cops. And I'm like, should we go somewhere else? And he's like, nah, I'm hungry. Let's go in here. And I'm like, okay, what? And so we go in, and when you go in the restaurant, you can go to the left or to the right. Well, the cops were to the right. So I'm thinking, put us on the left, put us on the left, put us on the left. And she goes right. And I'm like, oh man. Please don't go too far down, like so that we're not too close to them. And she sits at the first table, and I have my back facing the cops, and he sits opposite me, and he's staring right at the table of cops. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, I'm a nervous wreck. Like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't. I mean, because this is their beat. Not only that, like, these are the same cops that are more than likely the ones who've been looking for him. And I see out of the corner of my eye, one of the officers, I see him walk right up to about where the table is out of the corner of my eye. He stops dead in his tracks, turns around, and walks back towards that table. And then Jamin stands up. He's like, I'll be right back. And he very casually gets up and walks out of the restaurant. And the next thing, one of the cops runs out. And I'm like, oh God. And then I hear at the table, oh, he's serious. 2 more cops get up and run out. And one of them's like, we're not ditching out. We just got to catch this guy. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So the waitress comes back with our waters, and her jaw is down here. And she's like, that dude that you just came in here with is face down in the parking lot right now. I was like, cool, this will be to go. What am I supposed to do right now? I can't leave. I don't want to go out there. Oh goodness. And so I'm just sitting here waiting. Like, I'm just gonna have to wait till they leave. Like, they're gonna lock him up. I'm not gonna stop this from happening, but I'm not going out there and like getting. So I got my face buried in the menu, and I'm so embarrassed. One of the cops had walked back in, and like I said, I had the menu like this in my face, and he knocks on the table. He's like, hey. And I looked up, and he's like, thanks for bringing him to me. And I was like, you're welcome.
So the moment when Jamin was arrested, what was going through your mind?
I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, why did he come in? Why did he want to come into this restaurant? What was he thinking? And I think I was texting people like, Jamin's getting arrested right now. I don't know what to do. Like, oh my goodness. I was panicking. Like, what was he thinking? Why would he want to come in here? Like, all these things are running through my head. I'm embarrassed. Like, I can't leave. I don't know what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Like I said, I've never been locked up. I've never been in trouble. I'm a good girl. I'm a goody. But it's 3:00 in the morning. We're out at this restaurant. Hi, and so it took a couple of days before he called, maybe the next day when he called me from jail. And I was like, dude, what the heck were you doing? He's like, I was done. I was tired. I'm tired of running. I was like, cool. I wish you would have let me in on that little tidbit of information, because I'm panicking. Like, what is going on? So that was July 29th. That's his clean day. And so it was like a few months of him. We kept talking. He would call me from jail. And I just noticed this like shift in him. And I can't explain it because nothing about our relationship should have said, stay with this guy, right? And he's like, I want to make this work. I've got people talk a big game when they're locked up. I'll get out. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do all this and that. And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see the minute they hit the street, they're like, let's get high. Here we are.
Yeah.
So he's talking this big game, and nothing about him should have made me believe that he meant any of this. But
So
he's
you
like,
didn't believe anything he was saying, or the
I
shift that you
wanted
seen in
to. There
him?
was something about it that like I really wanted to. And there was something about his attitude that had shifted. I can't even explain it. Like I said, when people get clean and sober and they're locked up, they talk a big game. I've heard it a million
Okay.
times. I mean,
Yeah.
the minute they get out, it's like right back to doing what they were doing. So, and then he was like, I wanna see if this works with our relationship. Like, why? Nothing about our relationship was should have made me go, yeah, let's give this a try. I mean, you're locked up because you hit me in the back of the head with a
Yeah.
pair of bolt cutters. That's for
Right.
domestic. Like, nothing about our relationship should have pointed me in the direction of stay with this guy. Let's see if this works. Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, I'm sure we were both not fully exclusive throughout, our using days and things like that. I mean, we were tweaking, but there was just something. And he had all these plans, and he was like, when I get out, I'm doing this, and he, I don't know what it was, but he said, he's like, when I get out, I'm gonna help you get clean. I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. Um, uh, if we're gonna do this, like, I can't be the reason you relapse. Like, whatever this is that you're doing, like, I like this new you. I can't be the reason you fail. So, like, if we're gonna do this, like, I gotta get clean before you get out. So it was about 2 months later, well, maybe a month and a half, because my clean date is September 7th. So a little over a month and a half, I think, later, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get clean.
So what made you commit to that decision?
You have no idea. I think at some point I had reached like, I was tired too. The dope wasn't hitting the same. Um, I was tired. And there was many times throughout my addiction that I was tired. I was tired. I would look at my life and go, is this what I'm going to be? I'm just going to be a dope addict. I'm just going to be an addict for the rest of my. It's funny. You reach a point of like, okay, I'm an addict. And you just kind of accept that, yep, this is what I am. I'm going to go with this. But there's definitely moments within that where you're just like, really? Am I going to be a 65-year-old tweaker? Like, is this my life? Is this all I'm
So
willing to accept?
so I'm like a firm believer, right? You know how like the AA and NA, they always say I'm an alcoholic or I'm an addict, right? So I've done AA. I did the steps, right? Just to get my foot on the ground when I got out of rehab, right? But after a while, like I didn't feel happy like I see some of these other guys in AA, right? They have like this glow to them, right? And I never got it. And I can also never agree with always saying you're an addict or an alcoholic, right? An addict or an alcoholic is somebody who is still actively drinking or actively using, right?
Right.
So why are you going to keep saying you're an addict, you're an alcoholic, you're not drinking, you have 17 years clean, you've been redeemed from the bondage of sin, right? So
Yes.
why keep living in it? That's why I can't like if it works for people
Yeah.
completely, right? But I just can't connect to it like a lot of people can.
So like you, I tried it in the beginning. So I had a friend who had gotten clean. He was one of those, like, him and Jamin. I mean, this dude was crazy. Did some crazy stuff. Had that life-changing moment and got clean. And he had got clean like a year or two before I did. He would call me every once in a while and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Nothing, tweaking, right? I'm just and he'd be like, "Want to go to a meeting?" No, I'm good. You do you, bud. No. So when I first made the decision, I wasn't going to tell anybody, right? There's so much shame associated with addiction. I think that's also what kind of drives people to not seek help, not know who to go to. I was very ashamed of what I had become. Not only that, I think part of it was if I fail and nobody knows, then I'm only letting me down. But if I tell all these people and I fail, then I'm going to let everybody down. Not realizing, you're letting everyone down, even if they know or don't know, because you're not being your true, the best you can be. And I did realize at one point, I can't do this alone. I can't. So the first person I called was my friend Bo. I was like, dude, I'm trying here. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm struggling. Like this sucks. I need help. So he's like, I got you. I'm gonna come over. We're gonna hit some meetings. We'll take it from there. So he picked me up one Saturday and like, it took me to like 6 meetings. I was so tired. Took me to lunch, but like we hit up all these different meetings. He was an alcoholic as well. So we did some AA meetings. We did some NA meetings. We hit meetings on different sides of town. I could see like kind of the different, there was one meeting where he was leading the meeting. So I was able to kind of get a little experience of each of those. And so, it didn't click right away for me, but I did realize like, okay, well maybe I'll try doing this thing a little bit. And so, at one point, like I said, I made the decision, like, I can't do this alone. And I gotta come clean to like, I need help. And by hiding it or keeping it from people, that's the addiction talking. It wants to stay in the dark. It doesn't want you to come to light. And if I don't admit who I am and ask for the help that I need, I'm not gonna be able to get through this. So I came clean to my parents. I came clean to my friends. And I was just like, look, I don't know what this is going to look like. But I need help. I need support. So my parents, they live in Reno. And so they started like, they would come down and like, just take me to meetings and we'd hit up different meetings. Like, whatever I needed. My mom would cook because I was so tired. All I could muster up was like, I had one pot and one bowl and I would just make top ramen over and over again. It's impossible. My kitchen was a mess. Everything was a mess. My mom would come. She'd clean it all up. Mind you, I was still living with my roommate because I couldn't afford to move out, who was still an addict, active user. And so that was hard too. And having to just kind of remove myself as much from him as I could.
Was there any moments that you wanted to give up?
It's weird because, so like about a week in, I had some people, like I said, I didn't really like tell people that this is what I was doing. I just made the decision. I was like, okay, when this sack is out, like when I hit this last little bit of dope, I'm done. I'm gonna put it down. I mean, I milked that pipe till the end. I'll give you that. Just every little bit until the end, I had that. Okay, I'll just take a hit. Like I'll get high before noon, and then I won't after that. And then so I was slowly like trying to wean myself towards. And then those last few days where it was like, okay, I'm just taking one hit of this nasty pipe, whatever's left, until it's done. And about a week into me trying to get clean, I think I had told some people because they relied on me. I was everyone's dealer, so I had all these people I'm letting down. And they had reached out and asked if I had a pipe or something, and I was like, yeah, you can come use my pipe. And I never thought I'd reach this moment in my life, which was weird. But they came over and got high, and I just watched them, and I had no desire. I was like, no, I'm good. Because they were like, you want something? I'm like, no, I'm good. But there was one moment, I was maybe a month in. So I found a meeting that I really clicked with, right? Some of the meetings are very cliquey.
Yeah.
Like it,
for sure.
It just it didn't feel right. But I found one where it was like the people, there's a saying in the NA that the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. And I really felt that, because as much as my parents and my friends wanted to help me, they could never understand what I was going through.
Right.
Ever. my mom could read every book in the world, but she was never going to understand what I was feeling.
Right.
And so I got that from some of these people in this meeting, where like they knew what I was feeling. They knew how on day 30, the struggle and how much pain I was in and like what that meant. And so I was maybe a month or so in, maybe 2 months in, and I'm in my room and my roommate knocks on my door, and I open the door to my bedroom and he's holding up a sack in my face. He's like, "Hey, I found this in the garage. Is this yours?" First of all, he knew what I was doing. And what tweaker ever admits to finding a sack and you're gonna give it up? Yeah, right. No, you pocket that. What? He's like, "Well, it's not mine. I don't know whose it is. I'm just gonna leave it right here, and like out here if it's yours." And he left. And my body, like the minute I saw it, my heart started pounding. I started sweating. Just the sight of this substance, the way it made me feel and the way it made my body feel it scared me. I immediately called my sponsor, panicking. I'm like, oh, and I told her, she's like, "Go, get to a meeting right now. Get out the door, leave that house. Do not even pass go," right? Like, so I went and, I showed up at the meeting. This was my meeting. There was nobody had showed up that day. So they were just breaking down and getting ready to call it a day. And there was 2 guys there, and I walk in and they could just tell. They're like, "What happened?" And I was just like, I was in full panic. My body was just, I can't even explain it. And then it just made me feel so helpless that like this inanimate object could make me feel this way. I was so mad. But they sat with me. They were like, "We'll sit here all day if you need us to. We'll just sit with you." Like they just knew I just needed to not be in that house, and I just needed the support of others who understood. And they just sat with me. They sat with me for a couple hours until I was able to kind of calm down. And I told him, I was like, "He left it out. Like, I didn't go back outside to see where it is that he left it, but like, I'm scared to go back to the house. Like, what do I do?" They're like, "We'll sit with you all day if you need us to." I think at this point, Jamin was out and he was already working. They're like, "We'll sit with you till Jamin gets off work." And it was just crazy. But yeah, I did get something from those meetings in the beginning, but it did reach a point where I just knew I was done. There was nothing that was like, there was just a moment I was just like, I'm done. And I'm never going to go back. I don't ever want to do that.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped. I didn't go through all the steps. I didn't do all the things that I had started. And I got something from it in the beginning. And I think, like you said, if it helps people, more power to you.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody needs something different. It's an individual journey. And if
That's
you
why I
can
like
get
to
something
have.
from it, cool. But
Yeah, I get it. So that's why I have like different types of people. Like, I mean, yeah, we're all addicts, alcoholics on here, right? But at the same time, like, I'll have people from AA, NA, right? But also people that don't do any of that, right? But they're still sober, and a lot of the stuff in AA, NA will teach you to do the steps or you're gonna die, right? Okay, maybe true, you may die, but how do you know that person can't have a turning point in their life to where they just give it all up without doing it?
yeah,
So like I'm a real big advocate of getting sober in any way, right? If you want to do the steps, do the steps. If you want to do it through Jesus, you can do it through Jesus. If you want to do it on your own, you can do it on your own. But where's your willpower?
yes. And, it's interesting because people have asked. And so after that, a lot of the people that I was friends with, who I was dealing with, they started their own journeys. Like, I'm proud to say that everyone that I used with that was in my circle is now sober, clean and sober, for many years now. And we've all had to go at it our own different ways. And some of them would reach out to me, because I was already like a year or two clean when some of them started to try to get clean on their own. And what do you do? How do I, and you try your best, but it's just like, I wish I had I wish there was some magic solution that I could tell you, this is what you need to do. You each have to get there in your own way. You just have to reach that turning point. But any resources that you could find along the way that help you get there, like Jamin's built different though. He makes a decision and that's it. Like, we still smoke cigarettes for like a couple years after. And he was like, I think I want to quit smoking cigarettes. This 2-pack a dayer. He's like, so like, yeah, I think on the 1st, I'm going to quit. Just puts it down. Just puts it down. Like, who are you? Who does that? I knew what day it was coming, so I was like starting to slowly try to wean myself off, because I was like, I'm gonna quit with you. But yeah, he's just built different. But that's because he finds what he needs through his faith, right?
Yeah.
And I was raised different. My mom's Buddhist. I wasn't around, and my dad. I think my grandparents were Christian, but like my dad didn't. We never practiced. We didn't go to church. He wasn't. My dad was a hippie. So I wasn't around religion at all, except for Buddhism. And so I have no experience with that. There's definitely some things I think I'm trying to explore that side of things more now. I think just things, the way the world's going, where things are starting to kind of, I'm exploring that. It's a little bit harder for me just because it's brand new to me. It's nothing I've ever been around before or exposed to. But there's things where I look back and it's just like, okay, maybe that was like the Holy Spirit, right? Like, what about Jamin should have made me stay? Nothing, right? But maybe there's some sort of divine intervention there saying this is the way, something in my ear. Whatever that is.
Yeah, there's something.
Yeah. So, I wish there was a magic solution. I wish there was some thing that we could tell all addicts, but I think we all have to reach that breaking point in our own addiction where you're just like, I'm done. And it's sometimes, they talk about relapse in NA and AA. Sometimes it takes several tries, right? I remember early in my recovery using dreams, and I would wake up in a full panic thinking I had used, thinking I got to start all over, my clean day, like I screwed up, and that was terrifying. It took a couple years for my using dreams to go away. I have them occasionally, but not anymore. But I remember at one point telling my mom, I just want to feel normal again. And it's been so long since I don't even know what normal is anymore. I've been an addict for 13 years. I was an addict from the time I was 21 until I was 35. I don't even know if I could recognize normal if it hit me in the face, right? I don't know what that is. I just know that it's not this, and I don't want to feel like this anymore, and this feels awful. But in reality, that awful lasted, I would say it was like, for me, it was 6 months of, I was just so tired, and it just took a while for my body to kind of get back. Jamin, it was like 2 weeks. He was bouncing off the walls. Everybody's different. I'm not kidding. He's built different. Something's wrong with him. In the best way. He was bouncing off the walls after 2 weeks, like, but it took me 6 months of like dragging. I was just so tired. My body just, I would have just enough energy to do what I needed to do, and then I don't know. Maybe I'm just lazy, because that laziness is kind of stuck with me. I would rather be lazy. But really, yes, that 6 months sucked. I'm not going to lie. There's no way to sugarcoat that. But that 6 months was a mountain that I made. It was a molehill. that I had turned into this mountain through the 13 years of addiction. It's too hard. I can't do this. That pain, that suffering of not having my dope was so painful. But really, I would trade that. I mean, that 6 months was nothing. That's a drop in the bucket compared to the 13 years that I put
Right.
in to not really living my life. And the things that we have accomplished now that we're clean and sober also made me realize how much I was not a functioning addict. The things I've accomplished in my career and how far Jamin has gone in his career. I mean, those are things we definitely would not have been able to. You can't do that when you're trying to get high. You got to figure out when's my break time. How can I work the pipe into this situation? How can I take drugs on an airplane? I mean, you just can't
Yep.
do that.
To Italy.
To Italy, to Hawaii. Oh my gosh, I even started I did some things. I don't know if I should narc myself out, but went to Hawaii, started selling stuff over there to people through the mail. What was I doing? Oh my God. And managed to never get caught. So, clean record.
My hat's off to
Thankfully.
you. Yeah. I go outside and I get arrested.
Damon looks the part too. So, but the beauty of how you realize, wow, I was never really, I'm capable of so much more, and I was not. So even those addicts who think they're functioning, who think they're holding it down because I've got a job, I know there's plenty of those, those pill poppers, the people who think they're doing things, keeping it above board. You're never living your life to your full potential or allowing yourself. And then there's it's always the monkey on your back. Because you
So
can't.
there's really no such thing as a functioning addict, huh?
No, when I told
No,
that to
huh?
my sponsor, she was like, "A what?" She goes, "Girl, that ain't a thing." I was like, "Yes, it is. I'm functioning." I said, "I'm not doing that. I'm not stealing. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this or that. I'm not all of the friends that I had, like I said, they were good friends. I could leave my sack of dope with them and not think they wouldn't steal from me, and vice versa. Like that, those are the kind of people that I surrounded myself with. And so I had a totally different experience than someone like Jamin, who's like, friends. Oh, no, there's no such thing. There's no friends in addiction. But my experience was completely different. And, but it doesn't mean that I was any less lost or any less defeated. And then coming out the other side too, what kind of way is that to remember my dad? I felt yes, I think it was the catalyst, but at some point it became the excuse. And that's no way to honor his memory.
No.
Oh, poor me. My dad died when I was 21, and that's why I am the way I am. Poor me. I got to numb this. But for 13 years? Really? You got to numb it for 13 years? No, it just became the excuse. And I have other
So
friends who lost parents, in around our 20s, and I watched, people that I went to school with or that I knew growing up, and watched them take that experience and do the complete opposite. So why am I the way that I am, right?
right.
Why could they take that and go, I'm going to now make my parent proud of me and do everything right, and me, I'm over here wallowing in my misery.
Well, it's just like what your sponsor said. Like, the addiction starts way before we start using.
Yeah.
Like, I always knew when I was young, before I even touched anything, that I was different. I already knew.
Yeah.
Know?
Same.
So, like, maybe
So
your friends
once she
that
said that, I
lost.
started to really think back, because she's like, well, when did you start using? I was like, 21. And she's like, no, your addiction starts way before then. Because
Yeah.
it wasn't just that. That was just kind of what pushed me over the edge. I had been that way for a long time. And looking back, even just smoking weed in high school and trying to fit in and do all that, I really think it was my lack of self-esteem, my lack of wanting to feel accepted, wanting to be cool. And I don't know where that came from. It's just kind of who I was for some reason. And then trying to fill that void and numb it and not feel it. the problem with doing that is your problems don't go away, right? Because as soon as you
Right.
get high, as soon as the high wears off, the pain's still there. I still haven't dealt with it. My dad's still dead.
Right.
Your problems are still there. You just made them 10 times worse because you're trying to ignore them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what do you wish people understood about addiction and recovery?
Oh God, that's a hard one. Like I said, I've had so many people who are like, how do you do it? How did you get clean? How can I recover? I really wish there was a magic wand you could wave or some sort of cure that I could give. It really just comes down to, I think what I realized is you have to want it for you. I saw people try to get clean for everyone else. You see those people who do, who get on like my brain's just completely brain fog. Intervention, that's the word. Who have interventions and they're like, okay, I'll go. But it's like they're being forced
Right.
to do it.
Yeah.
And it won't take. They
No.
always end up right back. If you watch those intervention shows, they always end up kind of ditching out,
The same.
not an
Yeah.
intervention. And it's because you have to want to do it for you. You cannot do it for anyone else. As noble as it is to want to do it for your kids, do it for your family, do it for anyone else, you have to, like they say, the airplane, right? Put your mask on first before you can help anyone else. You have to want it for you. And so, and you have to know that your life has so much more potential, and it's beautiful on the other side. It really is. We have such a beautiful life now, and we've accomplished so much. And I think, man, what could we have accomplished if we would have done this 10 years sooner, right? If I would have started. It is what it is. I do not regret my life. That's the weird part about the addiction, is that I feel like I have an experience now, having been where I was, that I can see things that people who weren't an addict can't. I have
Right.
an empathy for people. I have kind of, plus my kids ain't getting away with nothing, right? We know.
Yeah.
You ain't getting nothing over on us. But there's, do I wish I could have learned the things I learned without having to go through the things that I went through? Maybe, but I wouldn't be who I am. And so that's kind of a hard line, right?
Right.
That I don't regret, because I wouldn't have met Jamie and I wouldn't have the things that I have. I wouldn't be who I am. But gosh, if I could have done it without all that suffering. And it's, you can lie to yourself and say that, oh, I'm not hurting anyone. Addiction's not hurting anyone but me. It does. It hurts those around you. And your life suffers. Even if you think you're holding it together, your life is not, it's not what it could be, on the other side. Give yourself the gift of, building something better. Yeah, I don't know. It comes down to you. You have to want it for you and do it for you.
Right.
And there could be no other way. I just don't think I think that's when it doesn't stick.
Yeah, it's when you're forced.
Is when you're forced, or you're doing
Yeah.
it for any other reason than yourself. Because
So
it's like,
it's
I
like
don't
all
know.
these probation officers and parole officers that'll throw people in treatment, right? Oh, you're gonna go to jail or you're gonna go into rehab, right? They only take the rehab so they don't got to go to jail, right?
Exactly.
But does it actually click? I don't think so.
No. It's
I've
funny.
never
We went
seen
to
anybody.
my parents took me to a meeting. We found a meeting in Reno. We didn't know nothing about Reno on top of that. So like, it was a rough meeting. And I
Yeah.
walked in and I was like, oh yeah, these are people that like, but there was people there who were there because they were supposed to be there, court ordered to be there. And,
Yeah.
there's just a difference, right? You could tell.
Yeah.
Um,
They're in a
you
hurry to
have
get the
to,
court card and get out of
yep,
there.
I just want to do it so I don't have to serve time. And that's not going to stick.
No.
Yeah. Addiction's, it's rough. But it's beautiful on the other side. And
For
that's
sure.
really, that's the one thing. And honestly, I won't sugarcoat the fact that getting to the other side, it's not easy. You got to
No.
want it.
Right.
But it's really just, it's not as bad as you make it out to be in your head either. I mean, yeah, it sucked, but it was not nearly the Mount Everest that I had in my mind made it out to be. And I was like, oh, well, looking back, that was, if I'd have done that 6 months, 10 years earlier,
Yeah.
you know, um, where would I
So
be?
how does your relationship with Jamin look now compared to those early chaotic days?
So I will say this. Um, when he wanted to make this work, my friends and family all knew the deal. They knew why he was locked up. They did not like him. They had no reason to like him. Um, and I hid it from everybody that we were continuing our relationship because I needed to know, there were several things I needed to know for myself. I wanted to know for myself, that this was going to work without hearing the input of anybody else because I already knew how they felt. I also wasn't sure if I could trust when he got out, he was going to do all the things he said he was going to do. And I didn't want to hear it or have everyone go, see, there he goes. He's doing all, he's not going to change. So it did take some time, and it took some time. So once he got out on house arrest. And then they wouldn't let him work, which was dumb. And I was still living with my attic roommate. So I was like, oh gosh, idle hands, right? This is just dangerous. I was very nervous. But he stayed the course. And as soon as he was off house arrest, he hit the ground running. He did all the things he said he was going to do. And his plan, he did it. And then when we finally got enough money to move out on our own was when I was like, okay, now I got to tell people, hey, I've secretly been, because we're going to get a house together. People were not happy. They had concerns, for my welfare and that he had changed. And, but they didn't see what I saw. They saw the worst of who he was on the other side. But they didn't see there was something that had just changed. I could see. And it was like, why should they trust me or him? It took some time. And really the only way that over time is just all we can do is live our life the best and prove every day that we are not who we were, by just living our lives. And there were some hard conversations and some, come to Jesus moments with some of my friends and some of my family. And there was a lot of just patience, right? Okay. When you're ready to, but we're here and we're just living our life and we're just going to continue to prove every day that we are not those people. Are we perfect? No. Do we still have moments? Certainly. Do we have arguments? Yes. Am I scared he's going to do anything to me? Never. Not a moment, so it's just trust and faith, and that we've slowly built on all the things and just living our life every day, one day at a time.
It's funny that you did that. You hid Jamin from like your friends and family, right? My wife, when I got out of prison, she did the same thing, right? Like 3 days out of prison, I got out during COVID, and of course I could play that poor me, right? Oh, I can't work, I can't get a license, right? What did I do? 3 days later, have a needle in my arm, right? And I had that come to moment in a motel, but went to rehab, but she still kept it on the low, right? Because of all the wreckage I caused, right? Kids didn't like me, mom didn't like me, dad didn't like me, right? I forget, maybe 9 months, 10 months that I had clean that she actually like told them, you know? Because 9, 10 months for me is, whoa, who is this guy?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And now
That's hard. That's hard.
My,
So I know exactly how she's feeling. That puts us in a very difficult situation between two people we love, right? I love my parents. I love my friends. I appreciate and understand. And even Jamin at one point, he's like, I get it. Like, I get it. I understand why they don't like me. But I can't fix what I did, all the wreckage that I caused, all the things that I did wrong. All I can do is continue to live my life clean, sober, to the best of my ability, and continue to work on myself. And that's really all we can do. And it just takes time. And he was willing to let everyone, and so was I, to let everyone kind of have that time. But there were definitely times where it puts a lot of pressure on me in the middle of this, right?
right.
Or things where like I would go to friend gatherings, and I'm like, you can't really come because they don't really want you there. We're over that now, but like, that was hard
So
because
he's welcome anywhere now.
yes, yeah, it took some time. It definitely took time, and he was willing to wait, for that, and um, let everyone kind of come to their own when they're ready. And he gets it, and maybe not everyone is fully accepting, or if he has his moments too where he says things or does things, or and people are like, I'm sure in their mind, oh, there he is, right? But that's he's 1,000 times different. He's not. He's done more than a. It's he's completely a different person, and all we can do is keep working on ourselves every day and building a better relationship between ourselves and those around us. And that's the proof. The proof is in the action.
Yeah.
So like everyone talks a big game when they're locked up, right? So I could only say so much to people, and it really just it took some time. How about you? Are people accepting now, or is it?
So it's funny now, right? Because me and my wife, the last time I went to prison, we caught a case together. It was a robbery turned into a high-speed chase. She's never been to jail. She went to jail for the first time. Me, I love that place, right? So we went in, and of course, after everything that I put her through, the family's like, "Oh, screw that guy," right? So for the longest, and like, I didn't have my parents around, right, when I was younger. My dad found me on MySpace in 2008, and I just put it this way: I barely met him last year when I got married. He came to my wedding, right? So
Wow.
like all now I'm in contact with my dad's side of the family, my brothers, my sisters, my dad, my stepmom, right? My mother passed away in 2017, and my kids, right? One of them lives with us now, and they both love me, right? I got in contact with my son after 15 years of not seeing him, and like God knows when it's time to put those people back in your life, right?
Yes.
And so like my in-laws all love me, right? It's not I don't think they have in the back of their mind that I'll ever go back, right? Because some people will always have those thoughts in the back of their head,
Yeah.
right? How long is he going to go before it goes bad? I don't think none of the people that are in my life have that thought.
That's awesome. And it's through action, right? There's this,
Yeah.
and I don't know how else to explain it. There's just something where it's like something has changed, something has shifted.
Yeah.
And I remember some of Jamin's family. His sister told me, when he got locked up, with the domestic case. I guess his dad had called the family, was like, pray for your brother. His sister was like, no, absolutely not. Like, whatever he did, he deserves it, right? I mean, when she got out later, she would come and pray over us and help us, through things. That's her brother. She loves him. But it was just, they were just so used to like, here we go again.
Yeah.
That, that's hard. But then I do recall some people saying like, there's just something different this time. Something has shifted. Can't put my finger on what it is, but something is different. So, I'm happy for you and your family. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It just takes time to fix
Yeah.
all the things that we broke. And sometimes it takes longer for some people than others. Some relationships take more time. Some people need more time. You just got to give them that space to look. I'm here when you're ready.
For sure.
And
So when I found my son, my boss actually found my son on Instagram,
oh wow,
and he showed me a picture, and he's like, "Is this him?" And I was like, "I don't know.
well, I
I haven't
wouldn't
seen
know.
him in 15 years." And he goes, "Well, he looks just like you." And I said, "I don't know. Let me see your phone." So I looked at the friends, and his mom was friends, and I was like, "Oh, that's him," right? So I got his Instagram, and I so wanted to reach out, right? But it's like, what do you say?
Yeah,
You have been gone 15 years, right? So my wife said, "Why don't you message his mom?" And I was like, like the ego part of me was like, oh, she don't have nothing to say. He's 18 now, right? And but at the end of the day, she raised him, right?
Yeah.
So I was telling my sister about him, and she's like, oh, I have a nephew, and I was like, yeah. So she adds him on Instagram, right? And then like they somehow started talking, and so she's like, what do I do? And I was like, well, clearly the last name's not make it doesn't sound familiar, right? So I said, just start asking him questions like about his mom, about his dad. So when she got to the part about the dad, he's like, oh, I don't know my dad. And I was like, yes, right? Because I didn't know if he thought somebody else was his dad, right? I don't know if somebody else was raising him and he
Right.
didn't know. So when he said that, I was like, all right, cool, perfect. So they keep talking. The conversation becomes dry, and she says, what do I do now? And I was like, you know what? Just tell me you're his aunt and that I've been looking for him. So she said it, and he was like, whoa, I don't even know what to say, right? And I told my sister, like, tell him, look, it's not on my time, it's on your time. So whenever you're ready, here's my
Yep.
number, here's everything, you can get in contact with me. So 2 weeks goes by, right? And like, I don't know, the ego pops in and like, oh, why hasn't he messaged me, right? Like I got something coming, right? So I messaged him and I was like, look, Zach, I know this is probably what did I say? Something along the lines like, I know this is probably hard for both of us. We don't know what quite to say, right? So I said, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it off by saying hello and I hope you're doing good. And it just went from there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Um, well, it's good. And you just gotta, sometimes it just takes that, okay, I'm just gonna do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And being respectful of like you said, like I have something coming. I didn't have any kids or anything. Me and Jamin have twins now. So I didn't have any of that. But you know, Jamin has kids from a previous relationship, and that's taken some time for him. And it's still working on those relationships. So it's hard. The wreckage that you cause um, can be very, very detrimental and long
Yeah.
lasting. And you just got to be patient with those around you. Um, so,
I think I was 15 or 16
wow.
when his mom had him. So like, and you figure I grew up in foster homes, group homes, right? From a young age because my grandmother passed away. So I was running and gunning as a kid, right? Living on the street, stealing. So that's a kid having a kid.
Yeah.
If I ran from all of my problems already, what makes you think I'm not going to run from this? Because this shit's scary right here.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know how to deal with nothing in life. Like I
Yep.
always ran from it.
It's hard. And
Yeah.
it's not their fault. But also, you know, at some point that when they become an adult, that they can make their own decision and start to try to heal those things. I think it's beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
At least try. You got to try. And if you're
Right.
willing, because man, what I wouldn't give, you know, for one more minute with my dad. Um, Not to say everybody deserves that minute, but
Yeah.
if someone's there and willing and wanting to put the effort forward, yeah, you just got to stay consistent and just be a constant presence. Um,
Right.
and then just keep living your life. That's all Jamin and I, that's our biggest takeaway has been just like, look, we can't fix all the damage that we've done to all the people. Can't even begin to say sorry or, you know, express some of that. All we can do is continue to live our lives on this side of things and prove every day that we are redeemed. We are no longer
Right.
broken. We are different
Right.
people. And the rest falls into place when it's meant
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't. This has been great. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
I was
Your
very
guys'
nervous,
church.
but yeah, this was great. It's good to get it off my chest.
Yeah. Your guys' church should be there Tuesday, I think it said.
Thank you. Looking
Yeah,
forward
of
to it.
course. Yeah. And then if it's too small, I'll get you a medium.
Thank you.
I just didn't have any right now.
No problem. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Have a good
Thank you
rest
so
of your
much.
weekend.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye. There you have it, guys. Erin Porter, Jamie Porter's wife, coming on, telling her how she changed her life. If you'd like to be on the podcast, please hit my social medias, TikTok at Broken to Redemption, or you can send me an email as well at brokentoredemption@gmail.com. Thank you guys, and until next time.